Hello and welcome to The Big Fight. There's a lot that's happened in the last 8 to 10 days that are leading some people at least to wonder whether the beginning of the cleaning up of the political system has finally started. There was an entire ruckus over the ordinance, which was then taken back. The ordinance, of course, which in a sense reversed the disqualification of convicted legislators. And then Lalu Yadav, convicted, sent to prison right now. There's been talk about nota, which is none of the above, and the right to reject. So all of these steps that are moving towards cleaning up of the political system, and the ordinance in particular and the row around it, what specifically does that mean? We have an absolutely fantastic panel with us to take us through all aspects of this particular discussion. Let me start off by welcoming right here in the studio, we have Renuka Chaudhary, former Union Minister and a spokesperson of the Congress Party, Dr. Subramaniam Swamy, former head of the Janata Party, now he's a leader of the BJP and a former Union Minister. We have Supriyo Bhattacharya, who's the General Secretary of the JMM, who is not very happy that the ordinance was actually taken back. Somebody with a radically different view from his, Dr. Kiran Bedi, former IPS officer. It's always a pleasure, ma'am, to have you with us out here. Dr. Manoj Jha, spokesperson of the RJD. It's been a particularly difficult week, I guess, for the RJD, and we're going to be asking you as to what impact that particular conviction is going to have on all of this. Gaurav Bhatia, head of the legal cell of the Samajwadi Party. Great to have you with us once again. We're also being joined from Hyderabad by Mr. Sushil Kumar, who's a senior advocate of the Supreme Court and is the lawyer for Mr. A. Raja, who, of course, was a former telecom minister. You know, we know all that's happened around that particular case. We're also being joined from Hyderabad by Professor Kancha Elaya, who's a Dalit Bahujan writer and has strong views that he thinks that what's happening with conviction and disqualification could go against the Dalit community, and we'll find out why he actually thinks so. Renuka ji, it's very clear that what Rahul Gandhi says and Rahul Gandhi wants, Rahul Gandhi gets, is I think what one of the newspaper headlines said. So soon after he came out in a rather public fashion and said that this ordinance is nonsense, suddenly the entire cabinet seemed to agree, and it's gone. First, the mechanics of how this was done. Could it have been done in a far more graceful manner?
Well, that's a different debate altogether. You have to first concede and
what's wrong with this
do you
right
agree
now?
with whether what Rahul Gandhi said is right or not? Let's go into that issue first.
If Rahul Gandhi said is right, then that means the entire cabinet did something which was wrong.
No, it's not necessary.
Including the Prime Minister.
You can't be so naive as to believe that politics is so black and white. There was a collective thinking in the cabinet that came about, and Rahul's was also a collective thinking that he got feedback from so many people in the country, well, largely the younger lot. And he came out and said, I think he had the courage to say what he did. I think you should appreciate it instead of shooting it down.
Okay.
And
Yes.
at the end of the day, everyone around is saying, yes, that's the right thing to do.
Okay.
So what are we quibbling about?
I'll tell you what we're quibbling about. Yeah. And what if Rahul Gandhi had come out that particular day and said, look, my government and our cabinet took a certain decision, and at that time we considered it was right, but we've got a lot of feedback from a lot of people, and therefore I am going to request the Prime Minister and I'm going to request the cabinet of this country to withdraw the ordinance. There would have been no quibbling about it. That's not what he said. He said, my personal opinion is that this is nonsense and should be torn up and thrown away. So my view should prevail over what the cabinet and the Prime Minister thought.
That's into figures of speech. That was a figure of speech. That's how we all say. I say a lot of things like that, where I say, what nonsense. That doesn't mean it's derogatory or detrimental to achieving your real goal. Now, what he did say was
that the cabinet has never reversed his decision because you've said something was nonsense. Not yet.
You'll be surprised. Just because it's not in the media doesn't mean it didn't happen.
Cases.
Okay?
Right.
So there are plenty of cases. That's not the issue. The issue here, what we need to look at in the larger interest of the nation is that, yes, there was a collective decision taken by a cabinet where the current government as well as the allies sat together and came out with a certain decision. Then Rahul Gandhi said what he did, and let me tell you, before he said it, he had already written to the Prime Minister. And then the cabinet got back together and said, let's have a fresh look at it. I think that's what you need to appreciate the government, that they didn't stick to their thing and say, no, this is our ego in danger and we need to sit here and say that what we did is completely right and we're not going to take into consideration what someone else is saying.
So
I think it's a very democratic way of looking at things and moving forward.
Okay, Dr. Swamy.
Well, I've known Renuka for a long time, and she's always been a brave lady and always defending the wrong causes. That's
I'm not here for the Padma, Swami.
The fact is, you see, that Mr. Rahul Gandhi is Vice President. So, part of the core committee of the Congress. Of course, his mother is the President. So, further power. Core committee clears it. And then it goes to the cabinet. Cabinet discusses it, clears it, sends it to the President. Is pending with the President. Now, Mr. Rahul Gandhi wakes up when? So, he's been sleeping on this watch at the very
No, so what do you want? That he continues to sleep?
No. If you
think he's sleeping.
No, once he knows, of course he's continuing to sleep.
No.
Once he knows that where he should have spoken, he did not speak. And suddenly in a press conference which he doesn't call, while the Prime Minister is in the United States about to meet the US President, we have always had this rule of what we call as Maryada, that when your Prime Minister is abroad, your own party people don't criticize him.